Social Welfare and Development and its attached agencies. We have the following resource persons. We have Secretary Rolando Joselito Di Bautista. We have Undersecretary for Social and Welfare and Development, Danilo G. Pamonag. We have Undersecretary for Standards and Capacity Building, Mr. Camilo G. Goodmalin. We have Undersecretary Jose Ernesto B. Gaviol for General Administration and Support Service Group. We have Undersecretary Aimee S. Torrefranca for Operations. We have Undersecretary Felicissimo C. Budyogan for Disaster Response Management Group. We have the department from the Department of Legislative and Liaison Officer Luz Viminda C. Ilagan. We have Undersecretary for Policy and Plans. I'm sorry, but her name is only Jar Herna. And Undersecretary Mark Alan J. Giambao for Special Projects. We also have Undersecretary Rene Glenn O. Pahe for Inclusive and Sustainable Peace. We have Assistant Secretary Rodolfo M. Santos for Administration. We have Assistant Secretary Jocelyn P. Newane for Policy and Plans. We have Assistant Secretary Rodolfo M. Encabo for Disaster Response Management. Assistant Secretary Rhea B. Peñaflor for Specialized Program. Assistant Secretary Glenda D. Relova for Statutory Programs. We have Head Executive Assistant Georgia Ruby B. Gascon. Gascon. We have Director Clifford Cyril Y. Riveral for the Disaster Response Management Bureau. We have OIC Cynthia V. Ilano for Standards Bureau. We have OIC City Raifa M. Pamaloy Hassan for Legal Service. OIC Natividad V. Canlas for Internal Audit Service. OIC Irene B. Dumlao for Social Marketing Service. We have Director Leonardo C. Reynoso for the Human Resource Management and Development Service. OIC Helen Y. Zuzara, Social Technology Bureau. We have Director Andrew J. Ambubuyog, Information and Communications Technology Management Service. We have Director Wilma D. Naviamos, Program Management Bureau. OIC Attorney Karina Antoinette A. Agudo for the Procurement Management Service. We also have Director Wayne C. Belizar, Financial Management Service. For the National Program Manager, we have Janet P. Armas. National Program Manager Restituto B. Makuto, Sustainable Livelihood Program. National Program Manager for the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program, we have Ms. Gemma B. Gabuya. Director Emmanuel P. Prebado from the National Resource and Logistics Management Bureau. We also have Director Maria Rosario C. Quaresma, International Social Services Office. Executive Director Engineer Emerito Rojas from the National Council for Disability Affairs. Executive Director Mary Mitzi Kahayon Uy for the Council for the Welfare of the Children. We have Executive Director Attorney Bernadette B. Abejo for the Inter-Country Adoption Board. Executive Director Attorney Tricia Claire Oco for the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Council. We also have Secretary Attorney Noel K. Felonco of the National Anti-Poverty Council. Chairperson Allen A. Capuyan of the National Commission for Indigenous People. Mr. Alvin S. Feliciano, the Chairman of the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor. We have NCPI Commissioner Jong Navarro. And we also have regional directors with us. For NCR, we have Mr. Vicente Gregorio B. Tomas. For the car, we have Leo L. Quintilla. For Region 1, we have Marcelo Nicomedes J. Castillo. For Region 2, we have Fernando R. De Villa. Region 3, Miss Marites M. Maristela. Region 4A, Lucia C. Almeda. For Mimaropa, Purificacion R. Ariola. For Region 6, we have Maria Evelyn B. Macapobre. For Region 7, we have Miss Rebecca P. Giamala. For Region 8, we have Marie Angela S. Gopalan. And last but not the least, we have Mr. Ramel F. Jamen of Caraga Region. Senator, we also have representatives from the DBM, Director Marie Ann Zaid de la Vega, Adir Jane V. Abelia, Benjelet M. Zuniga, Elizabeth V. Bernal, May Marie R. Dison, Dulce O. Vega, Talita John P. Dacono, Michael Leon R. Simon. That's all, Senator.
Yes, thank you very much, Committee Secretary. And perhaps we'll go right in to the presentation of the budget. If Secretary Bautista would like to present for the entire group. Mr. Secretary, please. Mr. Secretary.
Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
Yes, there we go. Thank you very much. I can hear you now.
Okay. So again, to the Vice Chairperson of the Committee of Finance, Senator Amy Marcos, other honorable senators present, fellow workers in government, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Madam Chair, with your permission, can we share our presentation?
Yes, please. Thank you, please. Go ahead. Yes, Mr. Secretary, is there a slide share? Parang hindi namin makita.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Secretary, is there a slide share? Parang hindi namin makita.
is still being connected, Madam Chair.
Yeah, Comsec Beth. May problema yata yung slide share. Pakibigay ng slide share kay Secretary.
Senator, sa kanila po manggagaling yung presentation. Hindi po
Yes,
sa
that's
atin.
Oo, that's right. But still, kailangan yata yung administrator ng meeting, yung
Opo,
host ng
anyone
meeting
can share
mag-pass.
po. Anyone can share na po.
O, sige. Secretary, anyone can share na daw.
Madam Chair, inaayos lang po yung yung sharing po, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Senator
Yes.
Hernandez.
Siguro habang inaayos yung
Yes,
presentation.
you'd like to go ahead?
Yeah. Madam Chair.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
If you'd like to go
Baka
ahead.
request lang since para hindi tayo mag-ahol sa oras because we have a session at 3 o'clock. Kung
That's
pwede
correct.
dumiretso na sila dun sa detalye with regards to the 2021 budget. At wag na
Oo,
tayo
that's
bigyan ng background about the objectives of
wala
the
na yung mga
agency.
mandate. At
Oo,
saka
wala na
yung
yun.
offices at yung mga ganon.
Yes, diretso na tayo sa detalye.
Yes, tama.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ayan, andyan na.
The department's proposed budget for fiscal year 2021 based on the recently issued National Expenditure Program. Joining me today are the DSWD's undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, regional directors, MANCOM members, and the heads of attached and supervised agencies who are ready to address the issues and concerns that may be raised by the honorable members of this body. The purpose of my presentation is to highlight the status of fiscal year 2019 to 2020 funds, provide an overview of the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget, and share the current updates of the Social Amelioration Program. Allow me to present the fund utilization of the DSWD as of August 31. For the fiscal year 2019 continuing appropriation, out of the 7.8 billion pesos, we have already obligated 4.9 billion pesos, and of which 2.5 billion pesos have been disbursed. The fiscal year 2020 appropriation, out of the 159.4 billion pesos, we have obligated 63 billion pesos and disbursed 46.9 billion pesos out of the obligated funds. Social welfare and development concerns are among exigent priorities in the country as stipulated in the Philippine Development Plan 2017 to 2022. Considering that the incidence of poverty remains to be a daunting challenge for millions of Filipinos, the department, as the lead in the social welfare and development sector, proposes a total budget of 171.22 billion pesos for fiscal year 2021, including the operations of its attached and supervised agencies. For fiscal year 2021, proposed budget has been formulated on a cash-based appropriation system. For the DSWD proper, the proposed budget is 109.59 billion pesos. This is higher by 4.45% from the previous year's approved budget. The 169.29 billion pesos budget is broken down as follows: 7.12 billion pesos for the personnel services. The increase in personnel services can be attributed to the salary adjustments based on actual field positions generated by the government manpower information system of the Department of Budget and Management. 161.74 billion pesos for the maintenance and other operating expenses or MOE. The increase is mostly attributed to the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program or for peace and protective services to individuals and families in especially difficult circumstances, Details of this increase will be presented in the next succeeding slides. 289 million pesos for financial expenses. This has a decrease of 43.28% over the 2019 approved budget. The decrease in requirement for bank service fees is due to the change of mode of payment for grants of majority of household beneficiaries from over-the-counter and via conduits to cash cards. No approved capital outlay in fiscal year 2021. 132.92 million pesos is for the retirement and life insurance premium or the RLIP. With this amount, we would like to highlight the top 10 major programs of the department with its corresponding budget allocation. Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program or 4Ps with 113.8 billion pesos. 23.1 billion pesos for social pension or SOCPEN for aged senior citizens. Protective services with more than 12 billion pesos. 4.2 billion pesos for the Sustainable Livelihood Program. Supplemental feeding program maintained its budget allocation from the GAA 2020 with the 3.7 billion pesos. Kalahi, comprehensive and integrated delivery of social services, kapangyarihan at kaunlaran sa barangay or Kalahi Seeds KKB with 2.2 billion pesos. More than 2 billion pesos for the disaster response and rehabilitation program. Provision of services for center-based clients with 1.9 billion pesos. More than 1 billion pesos for the provision of technical advisory assistance and related services, and around 960 million pesos for the Pamana program. Regarding the process of implementation of our programs in view of the pandemic, we have made changes specifically for 4Ps, Supplemental Feeding Program, Sustainable Livelihood Program, Kalahi Seeds, and Protective Services to address the needs of our countrymen during these crucial times. With the spread of the COVID-19 and the passage of RA 11469 or the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, the DSWD remained at the forefront in the distribution of emergency subsidy under the Social Amelioration Program, having a total of 206.6 billion pesos budget, 196 billion pesos provided by the Department of Budget and Management, and 10 billion pesos from the realigned funds of the DSWD. In total, around 195 billion pesos was allocated for the emergency subsidy grants. For the first tranche, the DSWD and the local government units served 99.08% of the 17.9 million target family beneficiaries. As to financial accomplishment, we have utilized 99.98% of the 100.4 billion peso allocation. For the second tranche, we have attained 97% accomplishment rate as of September 20, with around 83 billion pesos disbursed through direct payouts and digital payment. This concludes my presentation, Madam Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much. My colleagues, Senator, shall we call on the other attached agencies so that we finish off all these presentations? Mr. Secretary, are your agencies also going to present?
Madam Chair, there's no more presentation for the attached supervised agencies, Madam Chair.
I see. So this is the only presentation this morning. So I'd like to invite the other resource persons, even if you do not have any slides, perhaps you'd like to say a few words about your agency and the highlights of the new budget for the Council for the Welfare of Children, the Inter-Country Adoption Board, National Council on Disability. Are there others who'd like to discuss the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Council, the NCIP, as well as the Presidential Commission on the Urban Poor?
Budget naman natin.
Yes, Committee Secretary, if you can turn on, please, or if you can mute your sound because it's causing a lot of static and noise. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, can we call on perhaps just to make a quick summary of their budget, please? Yes, who's ready? Perhaps the Council for the Welfare of Children, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning to our honorable body here and to our senators, good senators. Our budget for this year has the decrease in MOOE and in capital outlay. This is due to the non-release of the additional or for later release budget amounting to 46.1 and 8.7 million respectively in compliance with the DBM and BC 580. So if you will notice, Madam Chair, our budget
So napapasok kayo, napunta sa bayanihan, ganun ba?
Yes, Madam Chair. We were not able to use our insertion or the congressional initiative for the 2020 because of the DBM took it for the bayanihan, Madam Chair.
I see. In your new budget for 2021, start na ba yan?
Hindi pa po. And we are trying to request Congress and Senate for the congressional initiative, another congressional initiative, because this is our part of our mandate as we request it for our monitoring, Madam Chair. We need to monitor the situations of our children. That's why it's so ironic, Madam Chair, that our mandate is to monitor, yet we do not have monitoring and evaluation division. So
Okay.
we may plead the body, the August body, to please have it back to us for our 2021 budget.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Hayon Uy.
Madam Chair,
Country Adoption Board. I think si Secretary Binay at saka sina Senator Tolentino ang madaming tanong dati dito. The Inter-Country Adoption Board, is there a representative, please?
Yes, Your Honor. I am Bernadette Atento, the Executive Director. The only change in the budget of the Inter-Country Adoption Board is the decrease in the PS, which stemmed from the fact that we were unable yet to fill in 5 permanent positions. But 2 of the 5 have been filled.
Okay, so you remain unchanged. Okay. All right. May kinuha ba sa inyo dun sa 2020 budget katulad ng Council for Children?
Wala po, ma'am.
Wala kayong awa. Okay. Tapos yung ating National Council on Disability Affairs, is there a representative, please?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair.
Yes, good morning. Opo. Yes, please proceed, Executive Director.
Yeah, so ang doon sa comparative budget po natin, yung reduction of the budget doon sa personnel ay dahil po doon sa unfilled 21 positions, but we intend to fill it up in the next 3 to 6 months. Yun po yung difference lang. And then, yung increase naman po sa MOOE and the capital outlay is due to the implementation of its approved ISSB o yung Information System Strategic Plan for fiscal year 2021 and additional operationalization costs for the Disability Resource and Development Center. Yun lang po, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Executive Director. Kung maaari po, Mang Emer, kung pwede ninyong isubmit yan, kahit one page lang, yung inyong request. Ganon din kay Attorney Bernadette Abeja at ganon din sa ating Council for Children. Ngayon gusto ko naman tawagin ang ating Juvenile Justice and Welfare Council. Kung ano yung highlights ng budget ninyo, Executive Director Tricia.
Good morning, Madam Chair. So basically, our budget remained unchanged for fiscal year 2021. It's for this year, we have a budget, a total appropriation of 105,218,000, and for next year, our NEP is 109,122, which means we have an increase of 3.71%. For this year, meron din pong kaming inoffer sa DBM for the Bayanihan Heal as One Act. That's coming from our continuing fund from 2019, which is the 1 billion allocated for the construction and support of LGUs for Bahay Pag-asa.
I see. Ano na nangyari doon? Hindi na natuloy yung 1 billion na Bahay Pag-asa? Kasi alam ko na marami pa rin mga probinsya na hindi nakapagtayo ng Bahay Pag-asa.
Hindi na po natuloy, Madam Chair, dahil po na-offer po siya sa COVID-19 response for this year.
Yung 1 billion na COVID din siya?
Yes po, ma'am.
Na COVID amount na COVID?
Yes po, ma'am.
Patay. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Senator Nancy, please feel
Yes.
free to clarify.
Yeah. Pero yung 1 billion na yun, kaya siya na COVID because the DSWD gave up that budget, di ba? Correct?
It was offered, sorry po.
Yeah, it was offered by DSWD to DBM.
Yes po. Under the Bayanihan Heal as One Act,
Yeah,
Your
but-
Honor.
Pero yung need is still there, di ba?
For
construct.
the construction, yes po, Your Honor. Nandun pa rin yung need for construction, but there was an immediate need po for the SAP, kaya po inoffer siya.
Hindi, pero hindi ba siya part ng FLR? Yung mga for late release na may commitment naman yung DBM na baka by year end mabibigyan pa rin ng pondo para masimulan yung
Yes po, Your Honor. Part po siya ng for later release. Hindi po siya na-release sa amin noong 2019 dahil sa transfer it to the DPWH for the implementation of the construction. Hindi po namin yan ni-request dahil hindi pa po nakapag-liquidate ang DPWH at mga LGUs na meron dating natanggap sa amin na 38.5 million para sa construction ng 10 Bahay Pag-asa. So under the COA rules, hindi po talaga siya pwedeng i-release pa. So
ilang
yes,
Bahay
it's
Pag-asa
not-
yung hindi natayo out of the 1 billion?
Ang ano po kasi namin doon, ang target namin was to improvement of existing Bahay Pag-asa, yung pong 77. Magbibigay po kami doon ng money for improvement as well as construction of I think
Madam Chair,
yeah.
siguro can we just request for a submission of the
Yes po, Your
listing
Honor. Yes po, Your Honor.
na tinamaan netong pagkawala ng 1 billion. And then, pero yung 2019 yan na na-release nyo, ay, siguro naman dapat patapos na tayo ng 2020 na liquidate na ng mga LGU.
Meron pa pong Your Honor, Madam Chair, meron pa pong 17.5 million na hindi naliliquidate ang parehong LGU at DPWH, pero po yung construction nung 10 Bahay Pag-asa, 99% na po yung tapos, which means only one is in the process of construction right now, pero yung 9 po ay tapos na. So yun
Ano
lang
yung
sa Cagayan.
reasons why hindi sila nakaliquidate?
Marami pong mga delays din dahil hindi rin na-transfer agad yung money sa LGUs, at nung dumating po siya sa LGUs, nagkaroon pa rin po ng arrangement pagdating sa mga procurement, and we can submit po to you. Marami po kasi yung reasons ng hindi nila pag yung mga delays po. Yes po. Marami.
Sige, and then baka pwede yung, kunwari, this specific bahay Pag-asa, kung ano yung mga naging problema.
Yes po, Your Honor. We can submit po, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you,
So
Madam Chair.
karamihan ba ng issue, Director Tricia, karamihan ba ng issue yung LGU o yung Public Works?
Hindi pareho po. Like for instance, yung isa pong nag-delay doon sa project, nung time po na transfer namin sa DPWH, meron po silang dinadraft na guidelines kung paano yung partition nila sa LGUs, kaya hindi rin po na-transfer agad doon sa LGUs.
I see. But Senator Nancy, ganyan talaga kasi palipat-lipat Ang daming transaction So, sa inyo muna, tapos sa Public Works, tapos sa LGU, tapos may IRR yung kada isa. Talagang matitenga yan ng forever. I see Senator Kiko Pangilinan raising his hand. If Senator Nancy will allow him to interject.
No, I think Senator Nancy still has some questions. I'll defer.
Sige, akala ko it was on the same topic for clarification.
No, just the last point na lang. Siguro, Madam Chair, baka dapat na rin natin tignan. Bakit pabago-bago yung guidelines, di ba? Hindi ba dapat meron ng one consistent guideline na hindi parang tuwing may programa, iba na naman yung nagiging guidelines ng DPWH, which parang nakakadagdag dun sa parang planong pinahihirapan to be compliant, di ba?
Sino ba yung nagpatayo? Yung LGU ba o Public Works? Hindi, kasi ang pwede natin gawin, idiretso na natin yung pera kung sino man yung ahensya na talagang nagpatayo. Ang daming dinaanan
Marami nga po, Madam Chair. Base po kasi yun sa batas, ang nakalagay sa batas, merong 5 million counterpart ang national government, tapos another, yung the rest would be LGU. So ang isa ding naging problema doon, paano yun pag-liquidate, pag hinalo yung funds, paano yung procurement, kasi kung magkaiba yung source of funds, iba rin yung process ng procurement, meron yung LGUs, meron din yung DPWH. Ngayon pag niliquidate siya, parang paano mo sasabihin na kami yung bumili ng ganitong kadaming pako, kami yung ganito kadaming cement, ganun. Kaya kailangan talagang i-clarify.
Magulo talaga sa tungo pag may counterparting. Sinisita ka for the entire amount when in fact marami kayong nag-ambag-ambag.
Yes,
Parating problema yan sa LGU Kabisado ko yan ng governor ako. Senator Nancy.
Muna, Madam Chair. Thank you.
If Senator Kiko, unless it's on the same topic, we just
Same topic.
two more, the NCIP and the Presidential Commission on the Urban Poor. Baka gusto ninyo marinig muna. Or
Same
Senator
topic,
Kiko
very
would like
quickly lang. Very
Yes, no
quickly, same
problem.
topic. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Just two points. The first point, perhaps the DILG, the DSWD, and the DPWH should sit down and thresh out the
Nakamute ka yata. Yes. Director Tricia, can you hear me? Director Tricia?
Yes.
Nakamute ka. Nakamute ka. So can you supply some success stories naman kahit papano ng ating programa. Okay daw, kaya daw.
Thank you.
Yun nga, we're always bewailing the fact that it's never been fully implemented, unfortunately. It's never been really given a chance. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Kasi
Ayaw niya mag-mute. Ayaw niya
Madam Chair, with the permission of the chairman.
Okay, dinig ko naman kayo. Okay, sino yun?
Ralph Recto.
Ay! Okay, our pro tempore is here. Andiyan pala si Senator Recto.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Am I recognized?
Yes, I recognize. Yes,
Okay,
we
thank you very much.
the presence of Senator Recto. Sorry, hindi ko kasi kayo makita sa aking screen eh. All
Yes,
right.
thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just very briefly, I won't take too long. Just a few questions to the Secretary. Secretary, you had a presentation earlier with regard to SAP, the second tranche, which was administered, implemented by the DSWD. We've received reports that not all the beneficiaries have received their second SAP. And in your presentation, isn't it correct that we should have given the second SAP amount to roughly 18 million families? Is that correct?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Secretary Bautista, please.
yes, Madam Chair, this was reduced from 18 million down to more or less 14 million, Madam Chair, family beneficiaries.
Yes. Why is that, Secretary, when Bayanihan 1 appropriated 2 tranches for 18 million families?
Madam Chair, can I ask for the question? I was not able to get it, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Honorable,
Let me repeat. Yeah, thank you, Secretary. Let me repeat. The budget allocated in Bayanihan 1 was for 2 tranches of SAP for 18 million families. Now, you mentioned that the second SAP, you reduced the number of families to 14 million. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Chair. Honorable Senator, with your permission, may Yusek Pamonag be recognized to give the details on this, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator?
Yes, please.
Yes, Yusek, please proceed.
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. We would have wanted to give the full 18 million during the second tranche. However, the LGUs have just submitted some 14 million. No? And I would like to mention that out of the 8.5 million waitlisted, which they are supposed to submit, they have just submitted 5.1 million beneficiaries. So yung difference po nito is about 3 million. And that was the reason why it was reduced from 18 million to 14.3 million beneficiaries, Madam Chair.
Yes, Secretary, isn't it correct that SAP 1, we were able to provide SAP assistance for 18 million families?
17. Madam Chair, for SAP 1, we provided it benefited 17 point just 17 point
Yes, I have here 17.9 families were targeted initially.
Okay. Yes, and I was just rounding it off to 18 million. But the
That's
law,
correct.
the law provides 18 million. Now, having said that, how much did we spend in SAP 1, Secretary or USEC?
for SAP 1, we have disbursed 99.9 billion
Okay.
pesos.
Okay. And that was for roughly 18 million families or 17.9 million families. And how long did it take government to distribute SAP 1?
it took us about 3 months to distribute the social amelioration program to 17.9 million families.
Okay, 3 months working together with the LGU. Is that correct? And when did we get these funds? Wasn't that provided April and May?
Yes, sometime April, May, and early part of June.
Okay, but roughly 95% was done on May. So within 60 days, more or less, 90% was done, no? Okay. Now, having said that, with regard to SAP2, I would assume that the budget would roughly be also another 100 billion. Is that correct?
96. For SAP2, the budget is around 94.5 billion pesos.
Okay. Why is it less than the 99.9 million? Eh, pareho lang naman yung beneficiaries na dapat ang bibigyan. Is that correct?
It's because of our physical target for the second tranche of social amelioration program, where it went down to 14.3 million beneficiaries.
Okay. So in effect, okay, so and how much did you spend? How much was disbursed for the second SAP?
At present, we have a total amount of 83.1 billion pesos disbursed, benefiting 13.9 families, or equivalent to 97.2% as of yesterday, Madam Chair.
Okay, I don't know if it's 97%, but 14 out of 18 million is a shortfall of 4 million based on the law and based on the appropriations. Okay? So meron 4 million nakatanggap, isang SAP lang. May 4 million families, ha? We're talking about in effect. And you know, the SAP 2 is even more important dahil yung SAP 1, nawala na ng trabaho. SAP 2, continuing din yung walang trabaho yung mga yan. At lumaki pa yung unemployment, di ba? And poverty incidence is on the rise, I suppose, no? And so having said that, where is the remaining budget for the 4 million families today?
The remaining budget is still at the DSWD, and we intend to use it for livelihood assistance grant, which is on the recovery phase of our program.
Livelihood assistance. But wouldn't that be against the law? If the law provides under Bayanihan 1 is to provide SAP, it is clearly written in the law for 18 million families. So magkano yung natitira? Hindi ho ba roughly about 12 billion? Mahigit? How much money is left to the DSWD?
Yeah. Madam Chair, Honorable Senator, may we
9 billion.
the Director Tacorda be recognized to answer your clarification, Madam Chair. Honorable Senator.
Yes, please.
Madam Chair, Honorable Senator Ralph, if I may just digress to your earlier point, the DSWD would have wanted to cater to the same institution was served.
We're not able to understand very well. Pwedeng
Yes.
lapitan mo na lang yung mic kung maaari.
Yes, sorry.
Madam Chair, Honorable Senator Ralph Recto, if I may just digress to the earlier point raised by Senator Recto, in as much as the department would have wanted to serve the same 18 million catered in the first tranche of the Bayanihan 1, we were tasked by the Office of the President and pursuant to the collegial decision of the member agencies of the IATF EID that we serve only about 12 to 14 million of the first tranche, and then serve, Madam Chair, the waitlisted group identified Madam Chair, by the President that also needs assistance due to the health and security protocols and restrictions placed due to the COVID.
Do you have these instructions in writing? Sorry. Yes. Do you have these instructions in writing so that we can see what they contain?
Madam Chair, there was this memorandum dated 22 May 2020 issued by the Office of the President, and we interpreted, the IATF EID rather, Madam Chair, interpreted that in relation to Executive Order 112 or 114, if I am not mistaken, Madam Chair, specifying which areas were placed still under enhanced community quarantine and modified enhanced community quarantine sometime early May 2020 to late of that same month. So only those areas specified in that memorandum, Madam Chair, were given the social amelioration emergency subsidy. And pursuant to the clamor of some of the LGUs like Cavite Province that their additional beneficiaries, Madam Chair, be also served. Some of those are belonging to the informal sector and not originally target of the DSWD under the SAP1. So the Office of the President was prompted to consider their pleas, and as such, IATF EID was tasked to consider these additional beneficiaries. Hence, the DSWD followed the modifications introduced by the IATF EID as a collegial body and approved by the President that waitlisted beneficiaries be paid. So to categorically answer the question, Madam Chair, of Senator Recto, that 4 million that was not met in the second tranche was because of these instructions from the Office of the President and to cover the waitlisted beneficiaries, Madam Chair, who also suffered because of the COVID.
Let me try to understand the statement and the explanation of the DSWD. First, the first SAP 18 million, isn't it that the reason why we gave them assistance is because their incomes are way below the minimum wage or minimum wage downward, the first 18 million. In effect, 18 million Filipino families, their income is minimum wage pababa. Isn't that correct? That is the reason for the 18 million target.
Yes, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator. Low-income families, beneficiaries. Madam
Correct.
Chair,
When we talk about low-income families, we're talking about those earning minimum wage pababa. Okay, now, next point. You are now mentioning na tinanggal niya yung 4 million, okay, from the 18 million and you gave 14 million out. Okay, ano yung basis naman in determining sino yung 4 million na tatanggalin? At why, bakit yung 14 million yung maiiwan?
Honorable Senator, we did not remove the 4 million beneficiaries, but the LGUs have failed to submit the complete number of beneficiaries that shall be included in Tranche 2. Like for the waitlisted, they should have been submitted 8.5 million, but instead they just submitted 5.1 million. We have several extensions for the LGUs to comply and to look for replacement. Multiple extensions are given by the Secretary.
Okay, so I would assume there are late LGUs who submitted and did not submit, right? So yun ang sinasabi niyong dahilan kung bakit 14 million lang ang binigay. Is that correct? Kasi iba hindi nakapag-submit.
Yes, Honorable Senator, that is correct.
Okay, my next question then was, what are we going to do with the 4 million? Don't we have a list of the 18 million families to begin with? The first tranche, may listahan tayo doon, di ba?
Yeah.
Madam Chair, Honorable Senator.
Yeah.
What happened during the determining the beneficiaries for the second tranche? We get we got the list from the beneficiaries of the first tranche. However, during the validation and the duplication process, we were able to find out that there are lots of family beneficiaries who received more than one emergency subsidy, meaning to say that one family might have received uh, emergency subsidy from DOLE or DA and also from DSWD. So what we did was those who are identified as double compensation, apparently we did not include them on the second tranche. And
Okay, that's clearer. That's clearer than the first answer we got earlier. Okay? So mas maliwanag yun. Okay, now, so yan ang dahilan kung bakit di binigyan yung 4 million. Now, what do you mean now that the 4 million, di may savings tayo ng, how much is savings? 12 million?
as of now, Honorable Senator, out of the budget provided by the DBM, we still have a remaining of more or less 10 billion pesos, and it's still within on our plan, and apparently depending on what will be the instruction from the DBM, whether to return this or to realign this to other project for the recovery, then we have to surrender this to the DBM or return to the Bureau of Treasury, Honorable Senator, Madam Chair.
Okay, so there is 10 billion more in the DSWD. Okay? Earlier, the testimony is that meron kayong pagbibigyan ng iba na waitlisted. Tama? And now you're telling me or telling the committee that it's possible you will return this to the Treasury. Okay? My next question, kasi the reason why I'm asking this is marami nagtatanong, halimbawa in Batangas, marami pang hindi nakakatanggap ng SAP. In my hometown in Lipa City to begin with, I've heard of complaints. Okay, number one. Number two, in Metro Manila, many mayors are complaining that their constituents have not received the second SAP. Okay? Now we know the reason. Okay? Meron kami may papaliwanag. Now we have 10 billion available. Okay? It doesn't make sense to me that this money is returned to the Treasury. To me, dapat ito itulong natin sa mga tao. Yun ang sinabi ng Bayanihan 1 eh. Okay? Na 18 million families. Now, you may, or your undersecretary mentioned that there are 4 million families na savings. And as I understood it earlier, there is a list for waitlisted. And there was a testimony earlier that the president, in a written document, told you to spend this for other things. Is that correct? So saan natin gagastusin yung remaining 10 billion, Secretary? The testimony earlier is for a livelihood program. Who are the recipients? And alimbawa kung sakali, and or there was also testimony that like Cavite dadagdagan. Are there any other provinces or in Metro Manila na dapat dagdagan? I mean, where will what is the basis of determining these next 4 million families or the remaining 10 billion? Secretary, I think you'll have to unmute yourself. Yes, thank you. Secretary, naka-mute po kayo. Please start all over. Yes, thank you, Secretary.
Madam Chair, Honorable Secretary, actually we were expecting then that out of the 5 million initially submitted by the by the local government units as part of the waitlisted. The arrangement there that they will be provided the emergency subsidy on the second tranche. Unfortunately, out of the 5 million that were submitted by the LGU, only on the numbers, but on the actual, meaning to say that we have to get the names, apparently more or less more than 3.5 million were submitted. So again, apparently there is a lacking number for the target beneficiary. On the part of what if we can provide emergency subsidy for another waitlisted, Honorable Senator, based on the arrangement, when we plan or intend to use that budget, we have to seek approval from the Office of the President. So we are already looking into that, and apparently the whatever will be the utilization of that remaining budget, then we have to seek the approval of the Office of the President, Honorable Senator.
Okay. So, when you say the LGU, hindi ko maintindihan eh. So, okay, may nabawasan to 14 million, so may budget pa ang DSWD, and you ask all the LGUs nationwide to submit, let's say 4 million or 4 million, 5 million names. Ano yung basis nun? Halimbawa, kahit sino pangalan pwede lang ibigay, or dapat yan yung minimum wage earner, pababa rin yan?
Madam Chair, Honorable Senator, may ASIC Glenda be recognized?
Yes, please. Or selected LGUs lang ba yan? Yung halimbawa, Metro Manila, second lockdown. Or will it be, halimbawa, Metro Manila, Region 4, because Metro Manila has what? 30,000-40,000 active cases? Region 4 has 11,000 active cases. So mas may tawag dito yung bawal lumabas. And maybe Region 3 has 5,000 active cases. Are we prioritizing areas with a lockdown for the second tranche, or the remaining 10 billion? How does it work? Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator Raf Recto. Since effective na po yung Bayanihan 2 Act, there's a specific provision po doon po sa F3, wherein an emergency subsidy can be given again to low-income household, to those qualified beneficiary but were not granted subsidy from RA 11469 or the Bayanihan 2 Hilas 1 Act. And Section 11 of the Bayanihan 2 source of funding, that savings from 11469 from Section 4 can be funded for the Bayanihan to Recover as 1 Act. Specific provisions on Sections PP, QQ, RR, SS, SSS, and TTT. So we can invoke
Okay? Ang intention niyan, first, 18 million families ang tutulungan sa Bayanihan 1. 2 tranches. Okay? Hindi lang naman DSWD dito. Ang SAP DSWD, but there are other programs. Okay? Kung may savings, na-fulfill mo na yung 18 million, kung may savings pa tayo from the entire government bureaucracy, pwedeng gamitin, tulungan pa natin dagdag na pamilya. Hindi natin sinabi na magdagdag bawas. So to speak. Okay? That's just the point I'm trying to raise. No? And the reason why this is a valid question, because marami nagre-reklamo sa baba na hindi nila natanggap. May palakasan daw. Narinig na natin sa LGU yan. Ngayon na naman, dahil nabawasan eh. Parang lalong may palakasan, something like that. Na ituturo ngayon, ang DSWD. And remind me, let me congratulate the DSWD. You guys are doing a fine job. Okay? So, very supportive of you. Okay? But, bilyon piso itong pinag-uusapan natin. And And we know how the law was crafted. And that's why we're asking these questions para masagot natin sa mga constituents na nagtatanong sa amin.
Sige.
So, today, your testimony is, as of today, it is not clear what you intend to do with the 10 billion. There's no final plan at the moment because you still have to seek the approval from the office of the president. Is that correct? What to do with the remaining 10 billion?
Madam Chair, Honorable Senator, actually we intend to use that for part of the recovery on the livelihood assistance grant. Apparently, we have already the proposal, but as we have mentioned earlier, this should be approved by the Office of the President, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator.
That's fair
Yes,
enough.
Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary, if I may inquire, I think the USEC, the earlier attorney who spoke, said that there's really no need, in effect, to go back to the OP or the IATF, given extraneous purpose such as livelihood, but definitely as a grant under Bayanihan 211, Section 11, Q&R. Kasasabi lang po niya eh. So tulad nga ng sinabi ni Senator Recto, ba't babalik pa sa presidente? Asa batas naman yan? Na yung savings pwede naman na ibigay na para sa mga hindi nakatanggap. Those not granted.
Madam Chair, may si Glenda be recognized, Madam Chair.
Okay, thanks, Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, tama po kayo, Madam Chair, na we just only need to invoke Section 11 of the RA 11494 or the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act and just ask for the DBM to repurpose the fund and then to submit our beds, which are specifics to emergency subsidy program as well as the livelihood assistance grant. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Recto. I think there's really no need to go back to OP. You just apply to DBM. The funds are with you, A. B, Bayanihan 2 explicitly states that you can use saving for those not granted.
Yeah. Madam Chair, just one final question on this stuff again. No? So, with your permission, Madam Chair?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, the Secretary mentioned livelihood assistance. Okay? Anong livelihood assistance program naman ang gagawin ninyo with the remaining 10B if you do have a plan? What type of livelihood?
Honorable Senator, may Director Resty Makuto be recognized?
Senator Recto, what we plan for the 10 billion, we have already made our proposal for the 10 billion. We will be covering around 664,726 household for the provision of livelihood assistance grant at 15,000 per individual po. So yun po ang aming plan. If it will be given to us to be utilized for the livelihood assistance grant. Ito po yung ating tinatarget po dito, yung ating mga kababayan, na mga informal vendors, yung mga nasa palengke, yung mga nagtitinda ng mga gulay-gulay, yung iba mga sari-sari store. So we have already oriented our local government units for this particular program. So they are ready now. Antay lang po kami nung pondo para we can start immediately. Yun lang po, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator Recto.
Thank you. Just to follow up on that, one last item. Okay. Paano ba yan? Hating kapatid sa lahat ng LGU? O may pipiliin lang na LGU?
Meron po tayong assessment na gagawin based po doon sa ating nabigyan ng SAP 1. So, priority po natin dito yung ating mga vendors na nagtitinda po. So the local government unit will submit proposal to us. Then we will assess kung kaya ng ating mga beneficiary dito na mag-undergo into livelihood. For example, kailangan natin yung mga beneficiaryo na meron na silang negosyo dati pero na damage natigil po because of the pandemic. So hindi na po sila makabalik sa kanilang pagtitinda kung wala tayong additional na puhunan. Yun po, Honorable Senator Rap, Recto.
Thank you for that, Secretary. May you submit these documents and your plan to the committee so that we can review the same?
Yes, Honorable Senator, we will comply.
Yeah, thank you, Secretary. Again, let me
Madam
thank
Chair.
the resource persons for answering our questions very candidly, and we appreciate all the work that you do for our people and for the country, no? So maraming salamat sa inyo, no? Kailangan kayo ngayon, no? In fact, dapat dagdagan pa nga ang budget ninyo next year dahil dapat may SAP pa rin tayo sa tingin ko next year Dahil maraming nawalan ng trabaho at palagay ko may mawawalan pa ng trabaho, may mga OFW tayong mas marami pang uuwi, at lalaki ang kahirapan, dadami pa ang mahihirap sa ating bansa, no? So, as I promised the chairman, I will not take too long. Thank you for the opportunity, Madam Chair, and to my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
Thank you very much to our Senate President Pro Tem.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes, okay. Is that on the same topic? I was just going to recap the requests.
Oo nga, yes, Madam Chair, connected dun sa na-raise na point ni Pro Tem. Can I ask, Madam Chair?
Proceed, Senator Binay.
Okay. Secretary, question lang. Kasi di ba nabanggit na may magkakaroon ng 664,000 beneficiaries. There's also a possibility na ang mabibigyan ng 15,000 yung nabigyan na ng SAP. Tama po ba?
Yes, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator.
And then meron na ba kayong more or less pinag-aralan nyo yung specific areas kung saan kayo magbibigay?
Madam Chair, Honorable Senator, ang magiging proseso po is based on the recommendation of the LGU, then that will be followed by the assessment to be conducted by our DSWD teams in the different field offices, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator.
Secretary, di ba yung DSWD, meron naman kayong listahanan? Hindi ba posible na kayo na lang yung maghanap dun sa pwedeng bigyan na additional 4 million beneficiaries for the SAP?
I think, Senator Nancy, kaya nga, konti lang kasi yung nasa 4Ps, pero yung over and above that, pero below minimum wage, doon nga ako bilib na bilib sa DSWD kung paano nahagilap yung mga informal and near poor, pero wala sa listahanan. Kasi over and beyond na ng listahanan, sila pa rin ang nakapaghanap.
But kulang pa din. Pero kulang, siguro, Madam Chair, kung naalala mo when we were discussing yung bayanihan, di ba? Ang naging reklamo ng mga LGU, dun sa listahan nila, parang 60% lang yung pwedeng mabigyan dun sa binigay sa kanilang budget.
Totoo naman.
So kulang. Kulang. Kaya parang hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit nagkaroon ng savings na 10 billion. Diba? Parang kulang na kulang. In fact, yung mga jeepney drivers natin na na-displace hanggang ngayon nagrereklamo na wala pa silang natatanggap, 'di ba? So yun lang, parang I'm just bothered na there's that big amount na dapat nakatulong na, lalong-lalo na nung kasagsagan ng lockdown. Yun lang naman, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Secretary, in order to recap, the requests of both Senator Recto as well as Senator Binay, may I just urge that the SAP breakdown be provided to this committee, a status report on the implementation of SAP 1 and then SAP 2, as well as if you have or will receive the sums from Bayanihan 2. Yung breakdown nun, at kung may maayos na report tungkol sa iba't ibang binigyan. Kahit hindi masyadong mahaba, pero at least may idea kami kung paano nag-ending. Na tulad nga ng sinabi ni Senator Nancy, parang kababalaghan. Paano ba nangyari na may extra pa, may savings pa? Ikalawa, if I may request, yung memo 22 May, kung hindi rin naman confidential, kung maaari kami kumuha ng kopya. At ikatlo, yung livelihood proposal na ibibigay natin na 15,000 sa mga market vendor at saka iba't iba pang sari-sari store owners. So more or less tatlo yun, but syempre pinaka-importante yung status report tungkol sa bayanihan CHOP 1 and 2 at kung makakalabas pa rin yung bayanihan 2. So,
Madam Chair?
Nais namin na
Madam Chair, siguro just an additional request, kung itutuloy itong livelihood program, ano yung magiging basis nila para sabihin na naging successful yung pagbigay nila ng 15,000 dun sa beneficiary? Kasi di ba, yun din yung nagiging concern ko ngayon kasi at the moment parang wala pa tayong ginagawang malaking pag-aaral dun sa success rate ng mga iba't ibang livelihood program na binibigay natin. Di ba, itong 15,000 nito, intention na to, pakitain at hindi lang dole out yung ibibigay natin sa ating mga kababayan. Pero ayaw din naman natin na yung papasukan nila, hindi rin naman pala magiging successful. So yun lang, Madam Chair, just parang ano ba yan? Parang meron silang test kung paano.
Senator Nancy, hindi necessarily sa SAP livelihood lang yan. Overall monitoring and evaluation of livelihood projects including Kalahi seeds, etc. Lahat-lahat na yon.
Siguro kung makakasubmit sila, Madam Chair, kasi baka nga masayang lang din yung 10 billion kung livelihood program. When at the end of the day, dole out pa din naman yung mangyayari.
Yeah. Madam Chair, just a suggestion to DSWD. Maybe we can hit two birds with one stone. Bakit di na lang kayo 10 billion yan? Kapital yan. Bakit kung gagawa kayo ng livelihood program, ba't di na tayo gumawa ng mga mask na pwede pamigay sa mga kababayan natin o ibenta nila?
Sigurado pa yon.
Ha? Kailangan pa yan during the time of the pandemic.
Madam Chair.
For the mask. Sigurado yun.
Madam Chair, Honorable Senator.
Secretary Bautista, please.
Yes, ma'am. With regards to the report that will be submitted to the Senate, we will comply, Madam Chair, Honorable Senators, and actually, we are very much willing to present a briefing relative to the implementation of SAP 1 and SAP 2. Kasi po, Madam Chair, talagang maraming mga hindi kagad makukuha. So we're very much willing na mag-conduct kami ng briefing, not in a committee or at your own convenient time. Second po yung with regards to...
Thank you very much, Secretary. That's an offer well taken. And I understand that it was an emergency effort and I am one of those, like Senator Recto, who really thinks that the DSWD's effort was heroic and overall successful.
Yes, Madam Chair. With regards po yung sinabi po ni Honorable Senator Recto, actually, we have already coordinated with the local government unit, particularly on the municipality of Cabuy, Laguna. Kasi meron pong pinakitang sample dito with regards to the face mask made of bamboo. So we are already exploring that face mask.
Pero Secretary, magdahan-dahan po kayo dahil nabanggit na, bibigyan yung Cavite ng extra sa. Pagkatapos, ngayon yung Laguna may livelihood. Paano yung Batangas ni Senator Recto?
Actually po, we get inputs from our different field offices. So apparently, meron na rin po sigurong recommendation and proposal from our field office 4A covering the area of Batangas or the Calabarzon, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator.
Yeah. The reason why I mentioned that also, sana wag makalimutan ng DSWD na yung Batangas, tinamaan din ng Taal Volcano. Because there's nothing in the 2021 budget for Taal rehabilitation.
Correct.
Marami na wala ng bahay dyan as mentioned by Senator Nancy Binay also during the DPCC budget deliberations, no?
Just to add, Sen. Raf, in fact, may mga kababayan pa tayo na hanggang ngayon nasa evacuation centers.
That is correct. That is correct, di ba? Oh. So,
Ayaw na pauwiin pagkatapos biglang pinapauwi na lahat. Ang gulo.
Hindi, nangyari sa amin. Chair, pinaalis kami lahat sa bahay.
Tama.
Ngayon naman, hindi na kami pinalalabas ng bahay.
Ano ba yun?
Parang asawa ko, pag galit sa akin, pinapaalis ako sa bahay. So again, thank you very much, Madam Chair, Nancy, and to the Secretary. Maraming salamat sa DSWD family. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Senator Revilla has been patiently waiting since 10 o'clock. Meron pa tayo sanang NCIP at meron pang urban poor, but I think we're all familiar with those agencies, and unless there are specific issues, perhaps I'll call on Senator Revilla na. Would you like to ask questions now, Senbong?
Yes, I will no longer ask questions, Madam Chair, but I would just like to extend my commendation and sincere appreciation to the DSWD family for their untiring efforts in helping our kababayan, especially the vulnerable groups, to cope and address the pandemic. Mahalaga po ang papel na ginagampanan ng DSWD sa ating pagharap at pagtugon sa mga problemang dulot ng pandemya. Huwag po sana po kayong mapapagod, Secretary, sa lahat po ng bumubuo ng DSWD. Alam po naman natin na hindi po sapat lahat ang ating maibibigay, pero alam kong pinipilit nyo lahat ng inyong magagawa para matugunan ang problema ng bawat probinsya. Katulad na nabanggit ni Senator Recto, kulang pa rin sa Batangas o sa ibang lalawigan. Sa Cavite, nagpapasalamat ako dahil sobra talaga ang grabe ng tinamaan sa aming lalawigan. No? Kaya thank you, Secretary. At sana po ay matugunan din natin yung ibang lalawigan. Again, Secretary, sa lahat ng bumubuo ng DSWD, thank you very much po sa inyong suporta sa ating mga kababayan.
So, ibig sabihin, Senator Revilla, kapag humingi ako ng karagdagang budget para sa DSWD na may kaukulang SAP na SAP number 4 na yata o 5, susuporta kayo?
Yes, why not? Madam Senator, di ba? At ang nakikita naman natin kung ano po yung makakatulong sa ating mga kababayan. I think para patas naman po sila. So, hindi porke may nadagdag sa Cavite, kumbaga meron nang nakiusap dyan or whatsoever. But the point is, nakita nilang higit na kailangan ng lalawigan ng Cavite.
Yes, maraming salamat. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Bong. I think, Senator Bina, if you have any other questions, Senator Bongo was listed next. Nandiyan pa ba si Sen Bong? Si
Pwede ba ako magtanong? Ako na ba?
Senator Bina. Yes, please.
Yes.
Meron lang tayong dalawa, no? Yung NCIP, hindi pa natin naririnig. Nandiyan ba si Alan? Ayan, si Chair Alan Arian.
Sige, okay lang. Madam Chair, tapusin na muna natin si NCIP.
Dalawa na lang sila NCIP at saka yung abalang-abala ko, yung Presidential Commission on the Urban Poor, dahil alam natin na matindi ang tama ng COVID sa urban poor. So, Chairperson Alan, ang problema lang, si Majority Leader Subiri had questions. So, he'd like you to come back if that's okay. Hindi naman hassle. Alam naman ninyo yung problema ng Bukidnon. Ngunit baka you'd like to make a few statements. About your budget lang po, mabilis lang.
Yes, ma'am. Tama, meron akong... the bottom line, ma'am, is that, by the way, right now, I am in Zamboanga del Sur. I am on my 51 visit to 120 communities. I'm now on my 95 visit. I still have 25 lacking. Bottom line is, what can a 1.2 billion support for NCIP can do to the 17% of our national population, located in the 30% of our a major insurgency problem, and yet we are only giving 1.2 billion pesos, which means that our community service center serving at least 10 communities has only a budget of 5,000 pesos a month. And our provincial office has only a budget of 15,000 pesos a month for operations. So what we found out is that for the last 22 years, we have only accomplished 25% of our mandated tasks. And I cannot imagine that we need another 22 years to make it 50% and another 44 years to make it 100%. So as Executive Director of the National Task Force LCAC, I can truly say that we will never accomplish our mission as directed by the President to put an end to this conflict if the problem of the indigenous peoples are not taken well care of. That's the only statement I can speak for right now, Your Honor.
Sa madaling sabi, Chair Allen, nagpapadagdag rin tayo ng budget.
Yes po, Madam, Your Honor. We have
So
submitted
if you will, please submit yung pinaka-importante ninyong priority ika nga na karagdagan if you have any. The priorities please identify.
Yes,
Pero
Your Honor,
may
we will do.
tanong lang ako, quick question lang kasi nalilito ako dahil may pamana tapos meron din LCAP. Alin ba yun? Pareho ba yun?
The Pamana is our support program to help those barangays and communities in conflict-affected areas. The National Task Force LCAC is intended to end the local communist armed conflict. The barangay support program that is designed are not a special fund of the task force. These are funds also from other agencies, but properly identified so that this can be focused in the conflict-affected areas. Meaning to say, the Pamana...
Aren't these duplicative and potentially conflicting efforts?
I don't think so, Your Honor, because the fund management is not even with the National Task Force LCAC. These funds are with the agencies concerned. What the DBM has instructed us was just to identify these projects na makakatulong po sa pag-end ng communist armed conflict. So, ibig sabihin, andun na siya. Ni-reinforce lang lalo kasi may mga kakulangan. But these are handled by agencies. And luckily, NCIP proposes for this barangay development program 700 million to support the barangay development program. But none was approved, Your Honor.
Okay, I see. So if you would submit your priorities, we'll be happy to look at them. And finally, we have the Presidential Commission on the Urban Poor, and we are most concerned about the urban poor being the biggest victims of COVID. Yes.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and all the senators and to the DSWD family. Ang pondo po, the proposed budget of PCUP for 2021 is 191,870,000, and there's a 2.99 increase in our budget, and mapupunta po ito sa personal services requirements such as for the newly hired, promotions, and salary adjustment of the employees. And for the MOE, may konti pong natira and we will use it for the PCUP caravan activities, for software subscription, IT repairs, and IT-related trainings.
Wala akong naririnig. Sorry pero Chairperson Alvin, wala akong naririnig tungkol sa COVID. Wala kayong response sa COVID considering na urban poor ang matinding tinamaan?
Opo, meron po kami, since day one po, kumilos na po ang PCUP.
Dito sa budget ng 2021, lahat ng programa ninyo tungkol sa equipment, tungkol sa PS requisites, pero wala naman kayong binanggit na COVID o tulong sa urban poor?
Opo. Meron po, ma'am. Meron po kaming capability training seminars for the community na meron po doong module for the prevention of COVID. Para po paalam sa lahat ng mamamayan kung ano po ang COVID, ano po ang epekto. At the same time, magbibigyan din po kami ng mga kits for them para po sa protection ng COVID. On the first day pa lang po ng pandemya, ang PCUP po ay kumilos na sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng instruction sa lahat ng area coordinators nationwide. At kami po ay araw-araw nagsasubmit ng aming report sa DSWD being our head, and sa Office of the President para po maipaalam kung ano na po ang problema, sino po ang
Nakapag-submit ba kayo ng ilang pangalan? Halimbawa, ng urban poor na nangangailangan ng SAP. Kinonsulta ba kayo?
Opo.
Lista ng SAP. Kasi, ang sabi ng LGU, kulang ang pera. Ang sabi ng DSWD, nahihirapan sa LGU. Hindi ba nakakatulong ang urban poor dyan?
Yes, ma'am. Since day one po.
That's your explicit constituency.
Yes, ma'am. Since day one po, lahat po ng AC namin nangangalap na po ng datos. And daily po, nagsasubmit po.
Pero nakonsulta ba kayo dun sa listahan? May contribution ba kayo dun sa listahan?
Yes, ma'am.
SAP 1 and 2?
Opo, may contribution po kami. At the same time, nagmamonitor po kami kung saan area po talaga yung kailangan bigyan ng SAP 1 and SAP 2. At katunayan po, pati po Office of the President at regional offices ng DSWD may daily reporting po kaming ginawa since day one. At up to now po, weekly reporting na po kami. At katunayan po, bagamat maliit po ang pondo ng PCUP, almost 140,000 na po yung nabigyan namin na relief goods sa tulong po ng mga private NGOs, mga foundation po na naging katay-up po. Kami po ang nag-identify ng area kung saan po nangangailangan at sila po ang nagbibigay ng mga relief goods para po sa mamamayang Pilipino.
Maraming salamat. Thank you. I think with that, we've heard from all the DSWD attached agencies. We'd like to call on Senator Bongo and thereafter Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
I'm not yet finished.
You're not yet finished. I'm sorry. Okay na. Senator Binay, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Siguro itatanong ko lang dun sa feeding program. Alam naman natin na nasarado ang mga daycare centers ngayon, di ba? So, paano ngayon yung mode of delivery na gagawin ng DSWD para matuloy itong programa na ito?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, may ASEC Glenda be recognized to answer the question? Madam Chair.
Yes, ASEC, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, Senator Binay. So in April 29, the department issued Memorandum Circular Number 12 of 2020, which is the guidelines in the implementation of the supplementary feeding program during the community quarantine period or other similar emergencies compliant to the community quarantine protocols that provided various options to continue the implementation of the program. Usually, different modes are being adopted by the community, wherein hot meals are being cooked by the parents and being dropped at the different houses of the children. We also invoke the use of nutrient-dense meals like the Nutriban and other packs wherein it is being distributed as a form of dry rationing. And ito din po yung challenge namin ngayon na hindi pa rin iniaalaw yung face-to-face, though nag-issue po ng memorandum ang ECCD wherein they will be resuming daycare center on September 14. However, konti lang yung bata, like 15 per MW and then TTH 15 din. So,
sino mag-i-issue na pwede na mag-daycare center? Yung DepEd nga, bawal ng face-to-face, tapos yung daycare center, papayagan.
Pero hindi pa naman po siya. That was just issued earlier, pero hindi pa rin po siya effective as of now. But this
in fact, si Presidente na mismo yung may pronouncement, di ba, na bawal ng face-to-face.
But just in case po, we will still be opting for the dry rationing pa rin po and provision of hot meals by transfer of funds to the different LGU to provide hot meals po. And also dry rationing of Nutriban and partner with milk and other nutrient-dense formula po.
I have a question. Certainly you should have, if I may, Senator Binay, certainly you should have savings as a result from the 2020 kasi hindi naman fully implemented. Pagkatapos, since wala nang face-to-face at alam natin na hindi na i-implement fully ang supplemental feeding, may 3.7 billion kayo sa budget. Sa palagay ba ninyo, talaga ma-implement yan considering what occurred in this year?
Yun pong current na in-implement namin is continuing funds of the 9th cycle, which is coming from the 2019 funds. However,
Yung pa yun. So meron kang 2019 na hindi pa nagagastos, may 2020 ka, inevitably meron kang savings. Pagkatapos yung
Magkano
2020,
ho yung 2019? How much was the 2019?
meron ka pang susunod.
Madam Chair, magkano ho yung natira sa 2019 na ginagamit for 2020?
Yes, asset
for
please.
the 2019 po, for our physical target, we feed 1,688,699, and ang na-obligate po namin is 2.2,835,000,000 po. And yeah, that's for the end of 2019 po, but kinontinue po namin yung feeding namin nung meron po nung March 15, and then some are na-continue po nung June 8. So currently po ngayon 1.7 million children po yung na-feed po namin. So for the 2020, as of August
2019. So magkano yung
balance
magkano
from
pa?
2019 in pesos and cents, please? Sa supplemental feeding program.
Yes. For the 9th cycle po namin, or for the 2019, we were able to serve 89.70.
So, magkano yung balance? Magkano yung natira after 2019? Kasi extended budget yan, di ba? Yun yata yung habol namin ni Senator Binay. Magkano yung natira sa 2019? Yung natira, hindi yung naibigay.
We only have, ang natira na lang po is 279,521,000 for the 2019.
And as of today, na gastos nyo na ba yung 279 million?
Madam Chair, may Madam Chair, Your Honor, may Yusek Cabiola be recognized to answer the question. Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Go ahead po.
Yes, please proceed. You're recognized.
And the answer is 66 million as of 31 August of 2020, Madam Chair.
Yan, naputol yung line. Pwede ho pakiulit.
Yes, Madam Chair, the question is how much fund remains for supplemental feeding program for CY 2019? And the answer is 66 million as of 31 August 2020, Madam Chair.
6 million pa from the 2019, and then from the 2020, magkano pa ho?
For 2020, Madam Chair, we still have 2.3 billion as of 31 August 2020. And this is intended for the 10th cycle, which is ongoing procurement, Madam Chair.
Sa tingin niyo ba by December mauubos yun na itong 66 million at yung 2.3 billion?
That is our target, Madam Chair. That's why we already initiated the early procurement for our 10th cycle, Madam Chair.
Ayun na, pero kasi nga 'di ba due to the constraints of COVID, yung dating ginagawa ng DSWD na kung saan nagluluto ng hot meals dun sa mga daycare centers, parang hindi na siya doable ngayon eh. So ano yung alternative na gagawin natin? Dahil talagang I think ngayon talagang ano na, kailangan na natin tanggapin na wala na talagang na hindi na talaga sila makakabalik dun sa daycare centers.
Your Honor, may ASIC Lenta be recognized for the catch-up plan? Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Madam Chair. Opo.
Yes, please.
Ang catch-up plan po namin is we will still follow the MC12 po, which is yung rationing pa rin po sa mga bahay. And then another one is the transfer of funds for the parents also to cook meals, but also it has to be dropped off pa rin sa mga bahay din po nila. Another option is the provision of yung nutri-dense meal po, yung mga nakapack. At ito na po yung irarasyon din sa kanila. Plus din po yung Nutriban, nakikipag-usap na po kami sa DOST kung para po dun sa mga areas na existing na po yung Nutriban plus milk, i-ration din po ito. We also are exploring the possibility of providing 2 meals per day para lang po makompleto namin yung 120-day cycle plus with the statistics being reported now na talagang medyo nag-increase yung malnutrition, baka po talagang kinakailangan po namin na twice a day po namin bigyan ng feeding program ang ating mga bata. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Kasi dun sa nabanggit niya, parang may mga taga-DSWD na mag-iikot para mag-drop off. Secretary, meron naman ho siguro kayong provision para maging protected itong mga taga-DSWD natin. Meron ho ba kayong ganung programa na kung saan yung mga staff ho ng DSWD na mag-iikot ay may budget for PPEs kung kailangan or mga face mask na kailangan nilang gamitin. Meron ho ba kayong ganong kumbaga kasi for me, pwede na nating i-consider as frontliner itong mga staff nyo na nag-iikot eh. And we also have to protect them. Meron na ho bang allocation ang DSWD for that?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, actually, yung pag-provide namin ng mga PPEs does not only cover yung ating mga frontliners. Even in the central office, binibigyan din po namin ng PPEs. With your permission, Madam Chair, ito po yung mga interventions na pinrovide namin sa aming personnel, particularly those in the frontliners. So may ASIC Rod be recognized? With your permission, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Yes, please proceed.
Magandang umaga po, Madam Chair, Your Honor. The DSWD provides a lot of intervention and assistance to the frontliners of the DSWD as well as those that are serving as a skeletal force. In line with the issuance of our Secretary with respect to the DSWD COVID-19 response and recovery plan, which include the following: the provision of personal protective supplies to employees of the department, even the payment of hazard pay for our frontliners, and provision of medical and financial assistance, as well as beer assistance to those affected by COVID-19. We also provide psychosocial services to our frontline workforce. It may be provided by internal or external experts in this matter. And of course, we also provide support mechanisms such as transportation, temporary accommodation, and subsidized sales. For the details of this assistance being provided to the employees, we may submit a report to the committee and to your honor, Madam Chair and your honorable senators.
Sige. Going to another point, Madam Chair, alam naman ho natin na ang projection for next year, mas marami tayong kababayan na maghihirap. In fact, ho ngayon, pag umikot ho kayo, marami, nagkalat na naman, Secretary, itong mga rugby boys. Meron ho bang programa ang DSWD? Alam naman ho natin na technically, problema talaga to ng LGUs. But, at the moment, overwhelmed na rin ng mga LGUs eh. Meron ho ba tayong specific program for next year para naman mabawasan itong mga tinatawag na mga rugby boys?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, actually from the start of year 2020, meron na po tayong coordination sa particularly NCR na nagkaroon po ng interagency task force and the participation of the LGU. Nagkaroon po ng mga responsibilities doon on how to address yung mga street dwellers to include yung mga rugby boys. Ang naging arrangement po is initially kapag meron pong street dweller or beneficiary sa isang LGU, apparently there will be a joint parang sort of a rescue. Pamumunuan po ito ng LGU, DILG, DSWD, and other agency. From the point kung saan po sila pinick up, dadalhin po sila sa lugar ng kung saan i-accommodate sila sa place po ng LGU. So pag nagkaroon na po sila ng accommodation or billeting, doon na po pumapasok ang interventions ng ating DSWD in terms of providing them with food and non-food items as well as yung sinasabi nating psychosocial interventions. So hangga't ando doon po sila sa sa parang holding area ay pinoprovide po ng DSWD. Other thing po, ang ginagawa din po ng task group na to is tinitignan po natin kung saan po sila talaga nanggaling. Kasi it is a fact na may mga street dwellers dyan na pinapapunta rito na mga, sabihin po nating allegedly, mga sindikato. Then, ang ginagawa po natin dyan ay ini-encourage natin yung mga street dwellers na to na tinutulungan po natin makabalik sa kanilang pinanggalingan. And marami na pong mga instances na naipabalik po natin sa kanilang mga lugar. So ayun po yung arrangement, and hopefully because of the COVID-19 hindi po na-intensify yung sinasabi nating mga pag-rescue sa mga street dwellers. So hopefully by 2021 mag-uusap-usap ulit kami at the same time determine kung ano pang mga agencies ang dapat ma-include doon sa task group na to, and mag-contribute ng budget really para to address yung problema po natin sa street dwellers and also the sinasabi nating mga rugby boys, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Madam Chair, kasi Secretary, together with now Congresswoman Legarda, nag-allocate kami ng I think 3 billion funds for mga facilities. Nagamit na ho ba to at tapos nang matayo itong mga facilities?
Madam Chair, may Yusek Goodwalin be recognized to answer your question.
Yep. Yusek Camilo, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Your Honor. In 2018, through the interventions of Senator Legarda, the DSWD was provided with about 2.3 billion pesos to improve the facilities of DSWD. We call this as centers and residential care facilities. There were 210 constructions, new constructions that were included in the projects, and there were about 256 existing facilities of DSWD that was also included for rehabilitation and repair. As of this month, Your Honor, Madam Chair, we have already completed 90% of these projects, and the remaining about 22 projects, Your Honor, is ongoing constructions, and most of them are also have 90% above completion rates, which we expect that by the end of this month or by early October, we'll be able to finish all of these projects under the CRCF project, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yun na lang po. And katulad ng sinabi ni Senator Ralph and Senator Bong Revilla kanina, I would like to congratulate the DSWD family kasi nga, isipin nyo, noong January may taal, tapos March nagkaroon ng COVID. Talagang kumbaga wala pang pahinga itong departamento niya na ito at I consider your agency as one of parang yung mga frontliners natin pagdating dito sa paglaban sa COVID-19. Yun lang po, Madam Chair, and we'll probably just ask questions sa next round kung meron pa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And at this juncture, I don't know if Senator Go is there. Yeah, Senator Go, kanina ka pa naghihintay at pabalik-balik. Opo, Senator Go, please.
Madam Chair, I cannot overemphasize the importance of the DSWD and its attached and supervised agencies when it comes to making sure that our fellow countrymen are given sufficient and adequate social services for their daily basic needs. As we can see every year from the history of the budget of DSWD, almost every year its budget increases with 171.221 billion allocated for DSWD and its attached and supervised agencies for 2021. We must make sure that every peso goes directly to our fortunate countrymen, most especially in these trying times. Nagpapasalamat ako sa DSWD sa inyong effort na maipaabot ang tulong ng gobyerno sa mga tao sa pamamagitan ng Social Amelioration Program o yung SAP habang tayo ay nasa gitna ng pandemya. Kahit medyo matagal at mahirap ang disbursement dahil sa pandemic, siguraduhin po natin na mabigyan ng prioridad at unahin ang mga mahirap at vulnerable sectors. Alam kong hirap po kayo sa pag-distribute kaya medyo natagalan. Pero suportado po namin kayo dito dahil importante po ay makarating talaga doon sa mga mahihirap na mga kababayan natin at talagang naghihirap po na kailangan ng ayuda sa panahon ito. At ano naman pong handling nyo ng Social Amelioration Program kahit matagal, gaya na sinabi ko, talagang i-second round nyo po ay dapat mapunta dun sa pinaka-nangangailangan kung wala pong bili ng pagkain. Basta importante, yung mga hihirap at makatanggap, meron namang nadodoble. Balita ko, may nakakatanggap po ng doble at marami naman pong Pilipino na honest at nagbalik po ng SAP, no? Dahil doble natanggap nila. Importante po ay ginamit nila ito pambili ng pagkain. Huwag lang po isugal at huwag lang po ipambili ng droga. Pinapaalala ko din po sa lahat na i-prioritize po natin ang kapakanan ng ating kapwa, lalo na ngayong krisis. Magtulungan tayo, magbayanihan po tayo para iwasan natin ang hindi pagkakaunawaan at para magkaisa ang ating bansa sa panahon ito. Full support po ako sa DSWD. Ulitin ko po, maraming salamat sa DSWD and sa lahat ng attached agencies. Salamat, Madam Chair. Wala po akong ibang tanong.
Thank you, Senator Bong. Kung ganon, hihingi kasi balak po humingi ng karagdagang budget para sa DSWD. Papayag po kayo?
Magtulungan po tayo dito. Basta i-assure lang nila tayo na mapunta po sa pinakamahirap at vulnerable sector yung tulong na mula sa gobyerno dahil ito yung mga taong pinilit nating magtrabaho, lumabas at wala silang choice kung hindi lumabas nga po kaya po sila yung vulnerable sector. Unahin po natin na yung mahirap at pinaka-nangangailangan po ng tulong mula sa gobyerno. Thank you po.
Thank you kasi sa palagay ko, Thank you kasi sa palagay ko sa 2021, walang nakatakdang SAP wala siyang social amelioration, pero lumulobo ang kahirapan sa ating bansa. Ang projected ay nasa 20%, tulad nga ng sinabi ninyo, at pag ito yung kawalan ng trabaho ay lalaki rin, lalampas pa ng 10 million, ang sabi ng iba. Kaya eto nga, sana magtulungan tayo, maghanap tayo ng pera at dagdagan po natin ang suporta sa ating mamamayang naghihirap. Thank you, Senator Bong. And if Senator Bong has no questions, we proceed to Senator Kiko Pangilinan, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. A few questions to the Secretary, if you can hear me. Based on your presentation, Mr. Secretary, magandang maga, malapit na magtanghali at sa lahat ng mga narito ngayon. Meron hong 3.7 billion for supplemental feeding, 2.016 billion for disaster response, that's 5.71 billion. And then you also have an additional 12 billion for protective services for individuals and families. I also noticed that sa presentation ninyo that one of your strategy focus would be to increase capacity of LGUs. Yung Bayanihan 2 Act, Mr. Secretary, meron pong provision doon on direct purchases of national and local governments, ating mga accredited farmers and future folk organizations. I identified these following budgets, and they're in the tune of billions. Do you have pilot efforts in coordination with the Department of Agriculture so that you can source a number of your supplemental feeding requirements, food pack assistance programs, disaster relief, in terms of direct purchases sa ating farmers and future folk organizations? I say this because based on the report of the Department of Agriculture, LGUs alone in the last 4 months have purchased over 6 billion pesos worth of agri-products sa ating mga farmers and fisher folk. And in almost all instances that at least the reports that are coming in, mas mataas ang bili ng ating LGUs sa farmers kumpara sa mga middleman. Which means mas mataas ang kinikita ng ating farmers and fisher folk. Plus, meron tayong mga report na yung mga LGU, mga barangay, halimbawa sa Arayat, Pampanga, binili ng 2 pesos more yung 1 kilo ng palay. Because they had a rice mill in their barangay, they were able to mill the rice instead of buying. So ang naging cost ng production ng rice nila was only around 32 pesos when it was 40 pesos sa local market. Which is to say, nung kulang yung suporta ng, and that's the right strategies, capacitate your LGUs, nung kulang yung ayuda sa national government, the barangay itself was able to purchase at lower cost and create more food packs. In fact, ang kwento nila sa Barangay Arayat, 3 more kilos of rice per family ang naibigay nila dahil nakatipid sila. So my question is there now a concrete effort on the part of the DSWD source its agriculture, to source from farmers and fisher folk organizations in coordination with the DA itong mga feeding programs ninyo?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, as of now, wala pa po kaming coordination or discussion about kung ano po yung sinabi nyo, Madam Chair.
Secretary, ang pagkaalam ko, meron na kasing kasunduan na yung DSWD pwede mag-procure directly from communities and farmers groups. There is no need to go through tender and bidding any longer. I was informed that this is the case, but so many LGUs, co-ops, and farmers groups are unaware that they're able to do this. Ganon din po yung mga regional director ninyo, kinakabahan sa DBM and COA rules. Can we get this publicized and finally widespread and established. Kasi parang natatakot pa rin sila eh. Although there's an arrangement na with DA, ang tawag nila community procurement eh.
Yes. In fact, yung sourcing ng DA, yung kadiwa sa ani at kita, precisely direct purchases sa ating mga farmers and fisher folk. If I may also quote, Secretary, yung Bayanihan 2, Section 4, letter OOO, allowing national and local government agencies to directly purchase agriculture and fishery products from farmers and fisher folk and agriculture cooperatives as a form of direct assistance, even beyond the lapse of Republic Act number 11469 and in accordance with Republic Act 11321. So, nasa Bayanihan 2 na rin po yan, Secretary. Ang laking bagay po niyan sa pagsuporta sa ating mga farmers and fisher folk. And the DSWD, it's win-win. The DSWD supports a marginalized sector. It's able to provide precisely its services to other marginalized sectors. So it's a win-win. And hopefully, you can put together some templating now, soon, in coordination with the PA, so that before when the budget plenary debates in play, I will raise again the question. And anyway, the budget debates will be in November. So it's only September, so you have a month and a half to be able to put in place some, pilot areas. Hopefully, if we can get that commitment, maganda sana.
Madam Chair, may
Madam Chair,
Secretary, please reply.
yes, Madam Chair, Your Honor. We will immediately coordinate with the Department of Agriculture. Apparently, Madam Chair, Your Honor, the DA is part of our interagency technical working group for the social amelioration program. And during the formulation on the guidelines on the distribution of this SAP, there were inputs coming from the DA and other interagency members. As a rejoinder, Madam Chair, Your Honor, may I request Ase Glenda to be recognized?
Yes, thank you. Siguro, Senator Kiko, madali na lang yan. Mga Ilocano lang mag-uusap. Si Secretary Bautista, Secretary Dar, at saka Ilocos Norte. Kayang-kaya na namin yan. No excuses. Okay, Yusek Glenda, please.
Madam Chair, permission of Sen Kiko. Siguro since nandiyan na yung DBM, baka maganda din na merong memo coming from DBM na talagang kasama to sa mode of procurement.
Oo, kasi takot na takot sila, pati COA, naninervyos. Sige, let's start with, yes, Senator Kiko, please.
Actually, meron ng GPPB circular for Bayanihan 1.
Correct.
So, in fact, ang requirement lang sa purchase is a certification from the barangay captain that the farmer organization is a legitimate one. Wala na yung mayor's permit, wala na itong and direct purchases. And then precisely we introduced that in Bayanihan 2 so that it's clear na even after Bayanihan 1,
right,
we continue with the direct purchases. So it carries over. In other words, it carries over.
Pero Senator Kiko, nakaka-nervous yung list na binigay nila for their 24 billion. Puro construction. Sa atin lang.
We have to look into that too, ma'am, to pagtulungan.
That's right. Yusek Glenda, please.
Madam Chair, opo. Currently, meron po tayong interagency on eradicating poverty and hunger po. Yung tinatawag nating zero hunger. It's a whole of the government approach wherein DSWD, DA, and DAR will pull together their resources in order to eradicate poverty and hunger. And with the
Di mag-usap na lang kayo. Kung paano gagawin niya.
And yung RA 11037 or the Masustansyang Pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act, it also encourages community procurement po para po yung resources ng community ma-encourage po yung production and then local produce plus the local economy. So
and if I may add,
sorry. Yes, Senator Kiko, please.
Yes, if I may add, precisely, the RA 11321, which we passed last year, yung Sakip Saka Act, also exempts direct purchases from public bidding. That's precisely why the GPPB was able to put it together. So talagang negotiated contracts ngayon ang gagawin
That's right.
ng DSWD, ng DA, sa ating Farmers and Fisherfolk Organization. So talagang the law is behind you, the resolution of the GPPB is behind you, the Bayanihan 2 Act is also behind you. It's all there. No? So talagang kailangan lang gawin.
Ang problema kasi, yung ating mga regional director ng DSWD, takot na takot sa COA at sa DBM, which is why tama si Sen Nancy, nandiyan bala yung DBM, tanungin natin,
Yes.
Director Mary Ann de la Vega, tama po ba? Sino ba yung DBM pa? DBM please. Nabanggit ni Sen Kiko yung GPPB circular.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, please. Please identify yourselves.
This is Director Mary Ann de la Vega, ma'am, in charge of the DSWD budget. Yes, ma'am. I think as early as last year, there were already some convergent efforts being done among DA, DSWD. We were also included, as well as NEDA and DOF, in those meetings that we had. Concerning the procurement of specifically for the rice, specific, Madam Chair, for the 4-piece program, yung po rice subsidy natin. And on the part of DBM, we also recognize the importance of the zero hunger programs that different departments have been doing. In fact, Madam Chair, for 2021, we have identified that as one of the convergence program, and we have included a section under the BESF in order to consolidate all those monies that we have been putting in for those objectives. So we have PCB. It's a convergence program for zero hunger, and the amount that you were able to pull in there, even for different departments, I think it's around 72 billion plus. So that's our recognition.
Ang 72 billion na bibili na?
No, ma'am. That's for 2020. The first effort that we have done is for the 2021 budget, and for the zero hunger, we were able to identify in the different departments an amount equivalent to around 72 billion. And the DSWD is one of those departments which were included in that convergent program. For zero hunger specifically, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. So we have clearance from the DBM, Senator Kiko, Secretary Bautista. Pwede pala mag-community procurement na lamang, diretso. So Senator Kiko, please.
Yes, if I may also add, and this is for the Secretary of the DSWD, ang ganda nga nung slide ninyo na capacitate the LGUs. Yun talaga ang win-win synergy. Kausap ko last week, si Mayor Jerry Treñas ng Iloilo City. And he was not aware of these interventions that are now possible by way of direct purchases.
That's right.
He has a community kitchen that is going around.
That's correct.
Iloilo City, precisely because of the quarantining, and it's very effective. So hinihingi niya sa amin yung mga resolution. I think the DSWD should take the lead in capacitating helping capacitate our LGUs by providing precisely the information. Tama po si Senator Amy, ang ating chairperson, sabi nga maraming hindi pa nakakaalam, at kung meron mang nakakaalam, meron pang agam-agam. So, and when else will now is the time to do it. The pandemic, the silver lining is precisely now we can push, because this is the new normal. And again, I will reiterate, the law is behind you, the resolutions are behind you. the laws are behind you. So ano na lang, implementation. And like I said earlier, ma'am, that's my last point actually. Ang hinihiling ko na lang is maybe by plenary debates, we can be updated regarding pilot projects of the DA, DSWD for some of its programs. Thank you.
Maganda, Senator Kiko, para may deadly deadline.
Pagtulungan natin, ma'am.
That's right. And the other thing is, of course, that as we know, Iloilo province is one of the top 10 rice producing. You would have thought they would be one of the priority areas for community procurement.
Madam
Yes,
Chair,
Senator
Madam
Binay po.
Chair, siguro, can I just ask, Sen Kiko, remember, di ba, nung pinag-uusapan natin yung procurement ng rice for
Yes.
4Ps, di ba dapat ito na yung naging template?
That's right, because nga of the rice tarification
Yes.
impact.
Na they need to buy
Yes. And in
from the LGUs or communities.
In fairness to the Department of Agriculture, they were really very aggressive itong pandemic. Talagang daang milyong piso rin ang biniling mga palay from the farmers. Yung nabanggit ko sa Arayat, kasama yon. Another interesting story lang, just to put a face sa North Cotabato, ang provincial governor, si Nancy Catamco, direct purchase sa kanilang mga upland, kasi nabanggit yung indigenous peoples, upland farmers. At ang bili nila ay 4 pesos a kilo yung kalabasa. Pero sabi ng upland farmers, nung middlemen ang bumibili, piso lang per kilo. So yung kanilang 2,000 kilos, if I'm not mistaken, ang laki, 4 times ang kinita. And in addition, because it's a LGU, they had the transport provided. In other words, wala na namang gastos yung farmer sa transport cost kasi kinuha ni Governor Nancy, ginamit yung kanilang public trucks, yung kanilang provincial vehicles para dalhin dun sa mga quarantine areas. So it's really a win-win for everyone. And that would be a beautiful new normal for our farmers and our fisher folk and addressing poverty squarely.
Thank you very much, Senator Kiko. Sa totoo lang, nung governor ako, dire-diretso ako nagtitinda. Kinukuha na namin yung bawang at gulay at pati bigas. Dadalhin po namin sa sentro at itatrack ko hanggang sa Quezon City Hall at magtitinda. Para wala nang trader, wala nang patong. Kung ano yung kikitain dun sa final consumer, siya na rin ang ibubulsa ng mga magsasaka. Ang hirap po, ganun lang kasama ang agrikultura ngayon.
Madam Chair?
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Senator B.
Hindi ba dapat, di ba may milk feeding program ang DSWD? Hindi ba sila nagpo-procure dun sa community? Kasi di ba supposed to be fresh milk yan eh?
Yes, Senator Nancy, ang problema, wala pa sa 1% ng requirement ng Pilipinas ang pinoproduce ng dairy farmers. Kaya nagwawala na po si Senator Villar nung nag-hearing kami ng dairy. Kasi bigay tayo ng pera, mukhang, ewan ko, saan ba napupunta yung mga baka at yung kanilang gatas? Hindi po namin alam. So, just to reiterate certain points that have been raised, Senator Secretary Bautista po, if we could have some kind of an update on the poverty roadmap na banggit na rin ng ating mga senador. Nakalimutan ko yata tawagin si NAPSI. May NAPSI pa kaya rito na ibig magsalita? Kasi we are anticipating na nasa 20% ang babalik sa kahirapan and we're aware na eto nga, napakatindi ng sitwasyon natin. So would NAPSI like to answer or explain a few things in their budget or ano yung plano ninyo para sa pagsugpo ng lumulubong kahirapan?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair, Senator Aimee, and all the esteemed members of the committee. Actually, I chatted you that NAPSI is present and we are very ready to present our proposed 2021 budget. The budget for 2021 of NAPSI, Madam Chair, is 246,457,000 pesos. There is an increase of 10 million 280,000 or a 4% in the 2021 budget.
Pero ano ang laban ng 4% increase sa 20% na ina-anticipate na lalaking kahirapan? Meron pang sinasabing upwards of 5 to 10% na unemployed. Pagkatapos nun, meron pang libo-libo, hundreds of thousands na OFW nagsisiuwian. So, kung 4% increase nyo, can we please turn off our Comsec, paki-turn off lang ng ating sound kasi nag-i-static. Anyway, anong laban ng 4% increase dito sa napakalaking poverty numbers natin?
Thank you very much for the question, Madam Chair. Actually, the 4% increase is due to the personal services, PS, because from 2019 we were able to increase, no?
So salary standardization.
Yes, because also yes. So because of also the salary standardization and
ibig sabihin, no increase at all in effect, di ba?
Yes, Madam Chair, there is no increase at all. For the MOE, there is an increase of 3,173,000, but this is for the inflationary increase in the cost of goods and services.
Okay.
And,
sorry.
And our capital outlay was decreased because of the removal of the appropriation for the 2019 approved motor vehicle. So, we have actually suggested we propose for the tier 2 equivalent to 200 something million pesos, but DBM only approved a 20,163,000 for 2021 budget, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.
That's the 4% increase, Madam Chair, of our 2021.
4% na naman ng inflation at ng sahod. Pambihira naman. So, wala
That's
rin
correct, Madam Chair.
Sa totoo lang. Okay. So, please, Secretary, if you will, if I could have some kind of updated anti-poverty roadmap. Kasi gusto natin humingi ng karagdagan budget. Lahat ng senador, narinig naman ninyo, suportado kayo. Ngunit kailangan ma-justify natin. Ito nga, yung isang roadmap sana kung paano. Ito, di ba, meron kayong cluster ng poverty reduction. And overall, kung tutuusin, may reduction siya from 2020. So I would like to inquire what are the specific targets that we have given the COVID or the post-COVID scenario where a 20% increase in poverty is anticipated. Isa pa, hindi nabanggit yung issue ng teenage pregnancy. Kung maalala ninyo, yung World Bank, ilang beses na tayo sinisita sa dalawang bagay. Isa yung childhood stunting na siyang tinatanong ni Senator Binay. At ikalawa yung teenage pregnancy na 1 in 10 teenagers are pregnant or already are mothers. Asa programa ba natin yan? Kasi isa pang issue yan na parang hindi nabanggit. Maybe we can have something from you. The other thing that I will have to reply to, and I anticipate that Senator Ontiveros will ask this, and this has to do with the title that the Philippines unfortunately has as the global epicenter of child pornography. I've been talking to my Yusek Tokaya about this, and maybe the Child Welfare Center. Baka naman dahil wala kayong output, kaya 50% reduction ng budget natin dahil ito ang kahiyang-hiyang statistika ng child pornography. I think these issues we need to deal with, and perhaps you can help me and provide some briefers about the actions taken by the DSWD. And finally, since we seem to have a broad-based support in the Senate for an increase in the DSWD budget as well as its agencies, if you could already at this juncture identify your priority programs. Yun talagang kailangan na kailangan in the post-COVID apocalyptic scenario. Mamili na tayo ng ating mga priority. Suntok sa buwan, pero malay mo, baka makadali tayo ng kaunti.
Madam Chair, pwede padagdag din?
Yes, Senator.
Kasi katulad na nabanggit ni Sen. Ralph kanina, alam naman natin yung problema ng Taal, nandyan pa din. Meron bang programa ang DSWD pagdating dun sa rehabilitation ng Taal victims?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, may Yusek Bujongan be recognized?
Okay, Yusek, if you'd like to answer.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, magandang tanghali po sa ating lahat. For the recovery and rehabilitation plan of the Taal eruption victims, nag-submit na po tayo ng project proposal to the NDRIMC for the approval of the chair. Ito po yung mga programa na gusto nating ipatupad as part of the recovery and rehabilitation plan of Taal volcano eruption. First is the emergency shelter assistance. This will cater to 17,644 families with a total amount of 286,220,000. This will be broken down into for totally damaged houses.
That's okay. That's okay, Yusek. Perhaps you can just give us in broad strokes. So yung isa, emergency shelter. Ano pa po?
Meron pa
ano yung total amount requested?
Yeah. We also have cash for work. We have seed capital fund and operational cost with the total amount of 684 million pesos, Madam Chair.
Sige, bigyan na rin ninyo kami ng kopya niyan. Baka sakali mahanapan natin ng kahit konting pondo. Thank you, Senator Nancy, for reminding us.
Yes, Madam Chair, ito ba ni-request niyo for 2020 budget sa NDRIMC or for next year's budget?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, we are submitting this to the NDRIMC for funding sa NDRIM Fund for 2021. However, we could also give copy to this committee for consideration, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Yes, kung pwede, ibigay na lang ninyo. Finally, Secretary, I've been a long-standing advocate of overhauling the 4P system. Kasi all evaluations point to the fact that it only addresses short-term poverty and that it has done great things for vaccination as well as elementary. However, it has not really reduced poverty levels in significant ways. So ngayon, baka naman may COVID, baka naman may ma-recommend kayo na i-diversify at i-focus yung efforts ng 4Ps na siguro naman yung mga nakakapagtawid na, alisin na sa tawiran dahil nakailang taon na rin 2007 hanggang ngayon. Siguro marami ng lumaking mga anak dyan, nag-graduate na. At yung iba naman siguro cash for work na, katulad ng binabanggit kanina, livelihood kung talagang okay sa sari-sari at sa pamamalengke. All these things po, Secretary, baka we can look at the 4Ps program more carefully and not do a one-size-fits-all subsidy, but rather a more focused approach for those who are truly more apt under the unconditional transfer. Eto na yung mga aged, yung mga PWD. Eh di dapat talagang wala nang condition yan, ano? Basta bigyan na lang ng tulong, yung sick at saka yung unable, no, to work. I think that's one section. And then meron naman dyan na dapat tanggalin na. Mga able-bodied naman na magtrabaho. Yung iba naman gusto talaga mag-cash for work. Ayaw na umaasa lamang sa dole-out. So there are many permutations now with the 4Ps, being that it's been in effect for over a decade. Siguro now, with this pandemic, is the time that we address those different and varied needs of our marginalized sectors po. So, Secretary, will welcome any kind of proposal from your end. We're willing to look at the 4Ps all over again and even change it or transform it in a holistic way.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Senator.
Siguro just to add, can we request for submission na lang ng DSWD if they have a latest impact evaluation para dito sa Pantawid program? Meron ba? Or baka 19 kopong-kopong pa? Meron ba? Or 19 kopong-kopong pa?
Meron naman.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, if I may.
Please.
Yeah. Actually, Madam Chair, Your Honor, from the start of 2020 and beyond, we have already formulated innovations and improvement with regards to the program. So with your permission, Madam Chair, may Director Gemma Gabuya, the National Program Manager for Peace, to be recognized to expound on it, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Pwede kayang i-submit na lamang kasi naghahabol rin tayo ng oras. Unless mabilis lang yun.
Madam Chair,
mabilis yan.
Yes,
Paano magiging mabilis yan? Bloody yan eh.
yes, Madam Chair, we will just submit the report, Madam Chair.
Hindi, basically, maybe in broad strokes, can you tell me how we address? Marami bang nakapag-graduate na? Pwede na nating alisin dyan? At saka, yung unconditional, marami namang unconditional, yung matatanda, talagang dapat alisin na dyan, yung PWD, talagang unconditional na yan. Wala nang kondisyon. Talagang pangalagaan na lang natin yan, kawawa naman.
Yes, may Director Gemma Gabuya to discuss briefly to be recognized, Madam Chair.
O sige, you have 5 minutes. Ang lupit!
Thank you, Madam Chair, the Honorable Senators. So, of course, I would like to
Ay,
thank...
ikaw pala yun. Okay, nagpagupit. Hi.
Okay. Opo, ang isa pong innovation na yun na direction ng Pantawid, dahil po ito ay naisabatas na po last year at naging regular program na ng DSWD, we started our exit or graduation strategy as early in January. So meron na po kaming na-identify na around 100,000, Madam Chair, to really help this...
Ako naman!
Opo,
naman, after 13 years, 100,000 lang ang nag-graduate. Ano ba? Mas marami pa yata namatay.
Yun po ang based sa aming ginawang survey, yung aming social welfare and development indicators na
Uy, wala nang kalagdagan yung 100,000 na
medyo natutungtong po, no? So pagdating sa pag-improve ng kanilang economic condition. So anyway, Madam Chair,
wala nang dagdagan 100,000?
Madam Chair, Madam Chair, tingin ko after COVID, baka kailangan ibalik ulit yung 100,000 na tatanggalin nila.
Aray, ano ba? Sorry, Glenda. Yeah, 100,000 ang konti naman din. O siya, sige. Sorry. Please proceed. Maliban doon, maliban sa kakarampot na nanganganib na bumalik sa kahirapan, aray ko. Yes, Glenda.
Director Gemma po sa Pantawid.
Gemma, sorry. Kanina pala yun.
Madam Chair, sa ngayon naman po, mayroon ho tayong bagong members, registered beneficiaries. As of August 20, mayroon na po tayong na-delist na 562,467. So, ang reason po nito, sila po ay nag-exit because wala na po silang 0 to 18 years old.
Kaya nga, wala nang mga anak
Ito
yan
naman
eh.
po, ito ang karamihan po. Pero yung iba
Pero
naman
may new members, baka naman it's a wash.
galing po sa listahanan po yung ating bagong miyembro ng
Ilan naman yun?
180,000 po ang may dadagdag.
Ilan? Sorry? Sorry? Ilan? Sorry, Gemma.
Yung 180,000 po.
Naku, pareho na rin. Ang konti-konti naman ng impact na yan. Anyway, may I just request therefore, Secretary and Program Director, na mabigyan kami ng impact assessment na sinasabi ni Senator Binay at ako rin nais kong makita kung talagang epektibo pa ba yung 4Ps. Sa palagay ko, epektibo naman. Kailangan ayusin lang natin at talagang itumbok yung mga problema ng iba't ibang nivel at iba't ibang sektor ng ating mga mahihirap. Okay. So, if there are no further questions, I will just follow up on the requests of the different senators at sana maibigay ninyo. I think may request sa ating juvenile sa kay Kiko Pangilinan. Siyempre, si Senator Kiko ang author niyan. So, yung request niya for some success stories, yung request ni Senator Recto, yung iba't ibang request na bloody ni Senator Binay tungkol sa livelihood assessment, yung Kadiwa Seeds at iba't iba pa. Marami po tayong hinihingi na information and Secretary, yun nga, sina Kiko at saka si Senator Ontiveros, alam na natin yung mga tanong nila, kaya't kung maaari, magtulungan tayo sa impormasyon para alam niyo masyado tayong sinuwerte last year. Walang nagtanong maski isa sa DSWD. Parang mahirap asahan na itong taon na ito magiging kasing swerte tayo. I doubt it. So maghanda po tayo ng masinsin. Thank you. Thank you very much po.
Maraming po salamat, Madam Chair, Honorable Senators, at we will all comply kung ano po yung pinapasubmit nyo sa amin. Maraming po salamat at mabuhay po kayo, Madam Chair and Honorable Senators.
Agbiag po, Secretary. Senator Binay, i-endorse ba natin?
Sandali, Madam Chair. Last na lang, Madam Chair. Kasi di ba sa budget ngayon, there's a big chunk ng budget dun sa ibibigay sa mga barangay. Ang DSWD yung may experience. Yung LCAP, yung 16B. LCAP. Okay. And di ba ang DSWD, I think yun na yung pinakamalaki yung working relationship with LGUs. Based on sa experience nyo, paano yung gaano kabilis mag-liquidate itong mga LGUs natin?
Forever. Ako na sasagot kasi ganyan yung nangyari dyan sa Yolanda. Hanggang ngayon marami pang pending.
Kasi katulad ng feeding program, di ba tie up yan with the LGUs? Kumusta naman yung liquidation natin?
Actually, ang totoo, wala pang ang COA report, ang DSWD. Kaya medyo nangangapa tayo doon sa 2019. Although naintindihan natin na COVID pati nga yung COA report. So, tama. You're asking specifically about the LCAC, Nance?
Yun. And kasama ba ang DSWD dun sa Balik Probinsya program?
Yes, Madam Chair, Your Honor. Yusek Neri will, with your permission, will discuss briefly on our participation with the Balik.
Yes, kasi alam naman natin, Madam Chair, hanggang ngayon may mga LSIs pa din tayo. Di ba may mga kababayan pa rin tayo na nagkukumpulan para lang makabalik sa probinsya?
Yes, may Yusek Neri be recognized, Madam Chair.
Yes, please, Yusek, proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'd just like to clarify that the locally stranded individuals are different from the program of Balik Probinsya. The locally stranded individuals our Office of the President's Initiative under Hatid Tulong Program. The Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa is the one that was issued by the President, an executive order, in order to decongest the Metro Manila's urban poor to return to their home province. And and on the part of DSWD, Madam Chair, to support the transition to the province, the Balik Probinsya program provides support and incentives on transportation, family, livelihood, housing, subsistence, and education, among others, Madam Chair. So just to very brief about it, Madam Chair, the participation of the DSWD for Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program are the following: transportation relocation assistance, transitory family food support package, livelihood
Equivalent amount, Madam Chair, baka pwedeng sabihin din yung equivalent amount kung meron.
Okay. The transportation relocation assistance, Madam Chair, is from 3,000 pesos to 35,000 pesos for family beneficiaries to move their properties and belongings from their current residence to where they will relocate. The transitory family support package, Madam Chair, is from 10,000 pesos to 70,000 pesos to cover the food and non-food items needed by the family during their transition. Non-food items include clothes, school supplies, and many others. Livelihood settlement grants, Madam Chair, is up to 50,000 pesos as start-up capital for the establishment of continuity of livelihood and economic activities for eligible families that cannot be covered by support from the other government agencies. We also have transitory shelter assistance in the form of rental subsidy amounting to 120,000 to 250,000 per year for up to 2 years while waiting for the NHA housing to be constructed or awarded. We also provide psychosocial support, Madam Chair, through dialogues and specialized sessions for the family in preparation for the reintegration to their hometowns, Madam Chair.
So magkano ho yung total budget that will be given to DSWD?
For the 2021, Madam Chair, or for the 2020 budget, Madam Chair, if I may ask.
Meron ba for 2020? For 2021, di ba bagong programa lang to?
Yes, Madam Chair, but for 2020, we were able to request the DBM. If you can still recall, Madam Chair, there was a 620 million that was added for the Kalahi seeds. And we requested the DBM, considering the urgency of the matter, Madam Chair, to repurpose it to Balik Probinsya program, because the implementing program here in the Balik Probinsya, Madam Chair, is actually the Kalahi seeds. If I may be able to continue also, Madam Chair.
So, Madam Chair, 1 minute. And for 2021, magkano na yung budget niya?
May I ask the the one that was approved by the DBM under NEP, Madam Chair, is 2.2 billion pesos.
So may 2.2 billion kayo for this program. Correct?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
And more or less, ilan yung matatarget yun na beneficiaries?
We targeted up to 4,000 families, Madam Chair.
Okay. Question lang. Kasi based dun sa experience, kadalasan, kasi di ba yung mga LGUs, halos lahat yan, may mga Balik Probinsya program eh. Aalis sila, tapos babalik din ulit sa Manila pag naubos na yung mga binibigay. Meron ba tayong sistema kung saan meron kayong database para na monitor kung kung kumbaga nagstay put ba sila dun sa probinsya na supposed to be babalikan nila? May ganun bang mekanismo? Kasi for example, ang alam ko din sa housing sector, meron silang program kung saan alam nila kung sino yung mga nag-avail ng housing units para alam nila na hindi na siya pwedeng maging avail ulit dun sa kung magkaroon naman ulit ng housing program. Meron ba kayong ganung datos?
Yes, Madam Chair. What is very unique in this Balik Probinsya
Bagong Pag-asa program is by virtue of the executive, Madam Chair, the National Housing Authority through GM Escalada is the one spearheading the secretariat, whereby they have already an existing database. There is a monitoring with these families, Madam Chair. So this is actually the whole of the government approach. Many government agencies, one of the members is only the DSWD. NEDA is on top of this. And the presiding officer of the Balik Probinsya Execom is no other than the Executive Secretary, Madam Chair. Actually, this is actually in place already. We have the database and we have the ongoing assessment, Madam Chair.
Oh, kasi Madam Chair, di ba, isa din kadalasan yung head of family, bumabalik pa rin sa Maynila eh. Iniiwan lang niya yung pamilya niya sa probinsya. So, yun lang, yung monitoring lang para hindi masayang yung pondo na ibibigay natin. Yun lang naman, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Yusek Tokaya, please provide the information requested and the breakdowns, and Yusek Gumali and the others, we also urge you to submit at the earliest possible time. And with that, given the broad-based support in the Senate for the budget of the DSWD and the attached agencies, except for NCIP, I endorse your budget in Subcommittee I to our Mother Committee of Finance. May I urge Chairman Allen to please come back at 10 o'clock on September 24 on Thursday for our majority leaders' questions regarding Bukidnon and certain issues that have arisen regarding the NCIP in that area. Thank you very much.
I second the motion of the chair.
Thank you very much. Oo nga. Thank you very much, Senator Nancy. Ang tiyaga po ninyo. And we keep talking about supplemental feeding. I think it's time we all had lunch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Nance.
Thank you, Secretary.
Sir, tulong-tulong.